Hey everyone, it's low carb and keto nutrition specialist Amy Berger bringing you, as always, keto without the crazy. One thing to tell you about before I get into the topic today, and that is that my very dear friend, in real life dear friend, and keto well-known influencer expert Casey Durango from Go Keto with Casey are having the second installment of our monthly virtual keto support group. There is a link in the notes for this video. It will be on Tuesday, August 13th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Normally, we want to have it on the first Tuesday of every month. For August, it has to not be on the first Tuesday of the month because I will be out of the country. So anyway, Tuesday, August 13th, 6:30 p.m., there's a link to sign up. We will be talking a little bit more about the importance of support in sticking to a keto diet a little bit later in this video. She has notes, everybody. Heaven knows what's coming if I actually took the time to make notes. I want to share with you today 7 things that I have learned as a keto nutritionist for the past 12 years or so. So over a decade of helping people with low carb and keto diets. Here are 7 things that I have learned. Number 1, keto is absolutely amazing. For the first time, keto has helped a lot of people lose weight when they didn't have success doing it so many other ways. And finally, keto was the thing that worked. Keto is unbelievably effective for reversing type 2 diabetes. And when I say reverse type 2 diabetes, I mean that you have totally normal blood sugars and a totally normal hemoglobin A1C on no medicine, like i.e. you don't have diabetes anymore. I am referring to type 2, of course. It's really effective for reducing blood pressure in people that have hypertension, in getting rid of metabolic syndrome, gout, PCOS, fatty liver disease. I just wrote an article for one of my freelance gigs on keto and fatty liver, and I did one on keto and chronic kidney disease. I mean, the list of things that keto helps is very, very long and very impressive. And to quote my friend, Dr. Eric Westman, it's so unbelievable you won't believe it. But I do believe it because I've been doing this for over a decade and I've seen the research. What else could I say? Is that the only thing I have to say about keto is amazing? Oh no, one of the most fascinating, most mind-blowing, no pun intended, things that keto is helping is anxiety, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, major depression. I mean, the research on keto for mental health, there is a burgeoning field called metabolic psychiatry. This is unbelievable. The results, some of the papers have actually said the results are unprecedented. Compared to medication, compared to other therapies and other modalities, the ketogenic diet's beneficial impact on these various mental health concerns is unprecedented. Now, if keto hasn't helped you in one of those areas, hold on, I'm getting to you, not leaving you in the dark. Because the second thing, number 2 on the list of 7 things I've learned as a keto nutritionist is keto doesn't fix everything. I wish it did. Keto hasn't fixed my depression. You know, keto is so powerful and so incredible and effective. And yet, it doesn't always fix everything for everyone. There are other health issues that are caused by things that a ketogenic metabolic state or a low-carb, lower insulin metabolic state simply isn't going to address or improve. So if you have something, if you're living with an issue that keto hasn't fixed, that's okay. I mean, it's not okay. You still are living with the condition, but it may not be that you are doing something wrong or that keto isn't working or that you're failing at keto. It's just that whatever that particular issue is something that keto doesn't affect. Whatever you have going on is in some other pathway or maybe it could be psychological. Well, we just talked about keto for psychological issues, but you know what I mean. It could just be happening for some reason that keto has nothing to do with and is not going to impact. So please don't feel like a failure. Like, what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? I'm broken. No, keto doesn't fix everything. Even when you're doing it right, even when you are really, truly doing all the right things, sometimes we need other help, other kinds of interventions, other kind of modalities. But to tie number 1 and number 2 together, for number 3, if you have something that you think or keto does benefit or should, I hesitate to use the S word, if you are living with some issue that you've heard or that keto is really good for and you're not experiencing the benefit, then recruit yourself a professional. Work with a professional. For example, if you are trying to lose weight, and I'm not talking about the last 5 or 8 pounds or the last 2 to 5 kilos. I'm talking if you're very significantly overweight or you have obesity and you are using keto to lose weight and the weight is not budging, or let's say you have type 2 diabetes or prediabetes and you're doing keto or keto, what you think is keto, and your blood sugar is not really getting any lower. Your A1C is not really coming down. If you have high blood pressure, your skin is a mess, you have migraines, joint pain, PCOS, all of these things that you always hear me talk about keto being so good for, if you're living with one or multiple of those and it's not getting any better despite you doing keto, get professional guidance. I am available for consultations. There's a link to book with me or to send me a message in in the notes of every video. So if you I'm available. If you like my videos, if you want to work one-on-one with me, that is an option for you. There's a link in the notes. But, work with someone who really, really understands the science, who can help you troubleshoot down to the nitty-gritty of your individual situation. Like, what exactly are you eating and drinking? What exactly is your schedule, your routine, your life, your home life? Like, what is getting in the way? What medications do you take? What supplements are you using? All of these different kinds of things that can, and I haven't even mentioned a whole host of lifestyle issues, but my point is, keto doesn't fix everything, but if you do have a condition for which keto probably should help and it's not, then that's a really, really good reason to work with a professional, to find out maybe you are doing something wrong. And I hesitate to say that you're something wrong. Maybe you have a misunderstanding as to how to actually do a ketogenic diet correctly. Maybe you're getting information from various influencers on YouTube and stuff, of which I guess I'm one, but maybe the advice that they are giving is not the best advice for you. This is why I'm so meticulous about how I say things and kind of constantly equivocating and explaining in detail. Good example was my most recent video on too much protein. The few people who too much protein might actually be getting in the way of their keto. The point is, you might be taking advice from people who are not really speaking to the particulars of your circumstances. And sometimes working with a professional can be expensive. Sometimes it's cheaper, depends on what somebody charges. You are worth every penny. Why would you not be worth it? If it helps you feel better, if it gives you answers, if it helps you get to the bottom of things and gives you actionable advice as to what to do to start getting those good results that you want, then it's worth every penny. So that was number 3. Number 4 kinda comes right out of number 3, where if keto isn't working for something it probably should be working for, work with a professional. If you followed me for a while and you know me, the keto without the crazy, I often try to, I wouldn't say discourage, I try to talk people away from weighing and measuring food, tracking food, using apps, micromanaging all the numbers. I always say, no math at the dinner table. Leave the calculus homework back in high school where it belongs. But because I like for people to do this as simply and easily as they can. The more moving parts we add to it, the more complicated we make it, the less likely it is someone's actually going to A, do it at all, and B, be able to keep doing it for the long term. So keto without the crazy, I really like to try to keep it simple. But some people do need to micromanage the details. And that's right with my most recent protein video. Some people do need to really kind of calculate some of those protein grams. I did a video a while back, I will put a link to it in the notes as well, that was something, I think the title was something like, what if you need to micromanage keto? And I hesitate to use the word crazy, like, what if you do need a little crazy in your keto? What if you are living with some type of condition where you know it responds best if your ketones are above a certain level, your ketone concentration, or you know that you lose weight pretty well when you're only eating X amount of fat or X amount of carbs. And if you go over that, you're stalled or you're kind of starting to gain, and maybe you don't have a good sense for portion size. Maybe your eyeballs are a little, you need to recalibrate your eyeballs, and you would rather use your measuring cups and your measuring spoons. That's fine. There's no right or wrong. There's what works for you. So as much as I say keto without the craze, I'm like, oh, don't measure, don't track, you're going to make yourself nuts. If you need to track and measure, or forget if you need to, if you just like it, if you enjoy the data, plenty of people do. If you enjoy seeing the numbers and you like it, then you measure and track to your heart's content. You biohack that's not really biohacking, but you hack as much as you want. Not everyone needs to, but some people do. So that's number 4. Some people really do need to micromanage. And I've advised people to do that when necessary, and I've advised people to stop doing that when it's not necessary and they're making themselves crazy. Let's see. Number 5, kind of going in the opposite direction of that, where, maybe number 4, like if you need to micromanage and maybe you have a condition that only responds well when you're in a really deep state of ketosis. Number 5, not everybody needs keto. I maybe don't say this in videos as often as I should, but certainly I've had a few clients for whom I recommended a higher carb intake, increasing carbs, not to 200 or 300 grams a day, but if they were doing 0 carb or 20 grams or 30, 40 grams of carbs a day, maybe they needed 75 or 80. Maybe they needed 100 grams of carbs, which compared to what most people eat is still a low carb diet. It's just not ketogenic, right? So not everyone needs keto. We all know people, we have friends, relatives, coworkers, whoever, who are not on a ketogenic diet, maybe not even on a really low carb diet, but they're, thin or lean, they look healthy, they're active, they have no health issues. So not everyone needs keto. I mean, look around just the globe, even historically throughout the centuries and millennia, most people have not followed ketogenic diets, and they're healthy, they live long lives, they're robust, they're active, age gracefully with all their cognitive faculties intact. So sort of right there on its face, we know that not everyone needs a ketogenic diet. So as much as I celebrate keto, right? Go back to point number 1, keto is amazing. Like it does things that no other way of eating does. The Mediterranean freaking diet doesn't prevent seizures, for goodness sake. The Mediterranean diet doesn't help people have total remission of major depression or total, prevention of bipolar episodes. Ketogenic diets do that. Anyway, keto's amazing. Not everyone needs keto. And number six kind of comes right out of that. Not everyone needs keto. Not everyone needs keto forever. So even if you needed, at one point had a condition or were in a state of health where keto was the best thing for you, that doesn't mean that keto is always the best thing for you or that you always need it. You can do it. You can do it forever if you want to, but you might not have to. If you want to introduce some higher carb foods and see how you do, you might be able to do that and do just fine. You might be able to do that and maintain a weight loss if that was one of your goals, you had lost weight, and you might be able to reintroduce some carbs and keep that weight off, reintroduce some carbs and keep your type 2 diabetes in remission, keep your PCOS reversed, keep the blood pressure at a normal level, all of these things. And again, when I say, introduce more carbs, I don't mean 2 or 3 or 400 grams of carbs. I mean a little bit. Half a potato with dinner, a small serving of beans, black beans with dinner. Maybe you're having some hummus with your celery sticks or with your pork rinds. Like small amounts. And some of you will be able to have not so small amounts. Some of you will be able to have larger amounts of carbs. The point is that, there's a saying, what got you here won't get you there. So even if keto worked like dynamite for you at one point, and it was the most powerful, most effective, most fabulous thing that you could possibly do, you can keep doing that, and that's great, but you might not have to, and it might not even still be the best thing for you, right? If you have put on a ton of more muscle and you are much, much more active and engaging in a ton of exercise, you might not only have room for more carbs, you might actually feel better with a little more carbs. And yes, please, everyone, I'm aware that there are professional athletes and, distance runners, distance cyclists doing keto diets. You can do incredible feats of athleticism on a keto diet, but some people will feel better with a little more starch in their diet. So don't pigeonhole yourself into, oh, but keto worked so well for me 2 years ago, 3 years, 5 years ago. Yeah, you were 200 pounds heavier then. You had 8 medical conditions then that you no longer have. So maybe now ultra strict keto is not the ideal thing for your current situation. Again, going back to number 3, maybe a professional can help you tease that out. Do we need keto anymore? And not only do we need keto, is keto even the best, most ideal thing for you right now? Okay, that was number 6. Number 7, support is crucial, at least for some people. And this, remember, I talked about the virtual support group that I have with Casey Durango, and I said I would come back to this issue. Some of you don't need any support, you don't need any encouragement, no cheerleading, no hand-holding, no nothing. You get a food list, or you read the Atkins book, or you read the book that I wrote with Dr. Westman, End Your Carb Confusion. There's a link below. Like you read a book, or you watch one of Ken Berry's videos, and you're off to the races, and you lose 50 pounds, and your type 2 is gone. Like, some of you don't need any emotional support. Some of you do. In fact, for some of you, that's really the only missing piece. You know what to eat, you know what not to eat, you know how to do it, but it's been really hard to stick to. Maybe because there's no one else in your household who eats this way. Your spouse, your significant other, kids, parents, your pets, whoever. They don't eat this way. If you're the only one in your home who eats this way, it can be hard to do. And even if, like me, maybe you live alone, it can still be hard to do because there's no one around to see. If I go to the store and buy that carton of brownies, or I go to the store and buy that tub of ice cream and bring it home, there's no one to see. So regardless, you could have everyone in your household doing keto and you still need outside support. So seek out a low-carb keto support group of some kind. It could be a Facebook group, it could be a Reddit forum, it could even be, people that you really like and respect on Twitter, whom maybe you interact with them, you exchange messages, or just kind of going to their feeds every day or every couple of days and reading through kind of reinvigorates you, gives you a little bit of inspiration and motivation because you see how many other people are doing this and how many dedicated professionals are doing this, whether it's, a nutritionist or a physician, a PhD researcher, someone like Ben Bickman or David Diamond or somebody. Or if I personally think that in-person support is so beneficial and nice, to use a really dead word, but like, I think in-person support and camaraderie has just such a different feel compared to online. So if there is a local in-person IRL, right, in real life support group that you can go participate in, do that. Now, maybe you disagree. If you prefer to be on Zoom calls or you prefer to be, online, that's fine. But I think there's just a very different sense of the interaction and of the sense of belonging and the sense of community when you are in person with people. And if you live in a place where there is no in-person support group, start one. Start one. One of my favorite sayings is, when you need a helping hand, look to the end of your arm. So if you would like to have a support group and you think you need or could benefit from a support group, but one doesn't exist in your local area, start one. I can guarantee you're not the only person in your town, in your city, in your province, in your whatever, who is eating low carb and would love to participate in something like that. So, and again, some of you are solo artists, you fly by yourselves, you get that food list, you read a book, you neither need nor want to talk to anyone about your food. Like, your food is your food, and you have no desire to interact with people talking about keto. Some of you really would love that. And maybe you are someone who has started and stopped and started and stopped and started and stopped several times, and you can't ever really stick to this for the long term. In that situation, very often that support, that sense of community and camaraderie is the missing piece. Because, if every day or every other day, however many times a week, you have people saying, keep going, you've got this, it's awesome, we're just posting new recipes, things for you to try, or just that word of encouragement. Hey, this is great. Hey, I stayed on plan yesterday. Here's to another great day. People to celebrate your wins, to cheerlead with you, to lift you up when you're not having wins, when you're kind of disappointed and things are slow or not really happening the way you want them to. That sense of encouragement, that's huge. It's absolutely huge. So, all right, coming up on 23 minutes, let's review 7 things I've learned in over a decade as a keto nutritionist. And I will probably do some follow-up videos to this to get down into like nitty-gritty of food stuff. Like, what about the carnivore diet? Do we need vegetables? Do we need antioxidants? Do we need, I don't know what, fish oil supplements? Like, I will maybe do some future videos digging into those types of details. But for this one, I wanted it to be more of a higher level overview of like lessons learned as a keto nutritionist for over a decade. So number 1 was, keto is flippin' amazing. And you feel free to insert another select F word there. I like to keep this family friendly, Keto is really, truly amazing. It does, you can lose weight eating any number of ways. There are even a couple of other approaches that are effective for reversing type 2 diabetes and metabolic syndrome and all that. Like, there's a couple of ways to do it. Keto, time and time again, when these various diets go head to head in research, keto comes out on top. Other ways work. Keto almost always works better. It's more effective. And keto improves or reverses other, conditions that other diets, other ways of eating don't. They don't even come close. So, number 2, that being said, keto doesn't fix everything. I wish it did. There is other stuff that keto just doesn't help, no matter how well you're doing it, no matter how you're doing all the right things. Number 3, if keto isn't working, but it should, like if you have type 2 diabetes or you're trying to lose weight or something, keto is known, has been proven to be effective for your condition, yet your condition isn't getting better, work with a professional, seek professional guidance. Some people need to micromanage their keto. Some people need a little bit of crazy with their keto. They need to track, measure. They just get the best results that way. That keeps them on the straight and narrow. One thing I actually forgot to say about this point is I said, maybe you just enjoy tracking the data, and that's fine. If you consider yourself to be a food addict or a sugar addict, then sometimes tracking and measuring can be helpful just because it's the only way to rein yourself in. If you are choosing to include maybe some of your trigger foods in your diet, but you have discovered for yourself that controlling the portions and actually measuring and saying, that's all I'm having, and once that's done, I'm done, then that can be really helpful if you find yourself in that situation. And Adapt Your Life Academy has a course actually coming up on sugar and food addiction with Dr. Vera Tarman, who is one of the world's best experts on sugar addiction and food addiction. She is a recovered food addict herself. She has lost 100 pounds and has been maintaining it for I think 12 years, over a decade. I think she's been maintaining 100-pound weight loss, having been a former binger, former food addict. So anyway, check it. I'll put a link in the notes. There's, again, Adapt Your Life Academy course on sugar and food addiction. Number 5, not everyone needs keto. We all know this, straight up. We have tons of people in our lives who do not eat keto, don't eat low carb. They're healthy, they're happy, they're thin, they're active, all that good stuff. Even if keto is best for you or was best for you at some point, if you needed keto, you might not need it forever, and it might not be the best thing for you forever. Number 7, support is crucial for some people, right? I say some because some of you don't need any extra support. You are your own support system. But for those of you that could use that, occasional virtual or in real life pat on the back, that word of encouragement, then support really is the missing link for lots of folks. I hope that is informative. Like I said, if you do think you want or would benefit from professional help with keto, I'm available for consultations. There's a link. Links to other good stuff in the notes, including the merch store. If you like keto without the crazy, you like a down-to-earth, sane, non-hyperbolic crazy message, get yourself some swag. We've got coffee mugs. We've got tote bags, nice sturdy canvas bags to bring to the farmer's market or the library or the regular supermarket or wherever, the beach, and sweatshirts, t-shirts, all that good stuff. All right. Thank you for watching. And until next time, keep that crazy out of your keto.